when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
All right, before I go any further with this, this clip is from the movie called Scanners, which is, in my mind, one of David Cronenberg's finest films. It's not just a movie, it's a film. It's a work of art, and it's profound in a lot of different ways. But I was watching this morning, and I paused it for a minute, and then I went to YouTube and I found the story that inspired me to go ahead and go live and talk about something that happened in Connecticut. But let's keep in mind my show yesterday, where I had a conversation with whoever showed up in the chat, and also with Jeff Hates Pigs, about what I have deemed social hygiene, which is how we interact with our fellow beings who are different from us. So we'll watch this. It's a couple minutes. Bear with me. It's relevant.
Will you look at that fellow over there? I've never seen anything so disgusting in all my life.
I'll tell you something. He's staring at me. I think he's looking at us. I think we're being picked up.
Oh, it's too awful.
Can you believe it?
I don't know how they're gonna let creatures like that in here. Really.
All right, so the dude's character, Cameron Vale, is a telepath, okay? But you see that there's a social hygiene relevance here. These two women judge this guy by the way he looks and the things that he's doing. You know, he's homeless probably, he's poor. He comes in and he snipes a cigarette out of an ashtray, and then he eats somebody else's leftovers that are just going to go in the garbage, and they're disgusted by the way he looks. And probably, I don't know. It's fiction. It's science fiction. So I'm watching this morning, right? And then I'm looking at YouTube, and this this story pops up in my feed.
Welcome back. Ed
And here we
Mahoney is
go.
one of the state's great print journalists.
This story literally popped up in my feed after I was about half an hour or something into watching Scanners, and I paused it. I just wanted to check YouTube, and this pops up.
A Pulitzer Prize winner, a two-time Polk Award winner. He's worked at the Hartford Courant for decades. I saw a recent story of his about a woman sent to a state mental hospital after refusing to share her ID. And I was only about halfway through it, and I texted our producer and said, you got to get Ed on the show to explain the story. Ed is here, one of my all-time favorites. I'm thrilled to have you on the show, Ed.
Thanks very much. It's great to be here.
So I told you, I gasped out loud several times while reading your story. It was about a week and a half ago in the Print Courant. You covered a Supreme Court argument, and you described it as an unusually strong reaction from the justices. Give us a quick summary. How did this case come about?
This was a story of a woman who obviously had some troubles, but she tried to check into a hotel in Montville, Connecticut, and she wouldn't produce a driver's license for the clerk. And the clerk said, you can't have a room. There was no strong language or any hostility, but he said, you have to leave. She said she went and sat in a chair and drank a cup of coffee and tried to figure out what she was going to do next. In the meantime, the hotel called the police. The police came, told her she wasn't wanted. They demanded to know who she was, and she said, I don't have an obligation to tell you who I am. There's no law that says I have to, so I'm not going to do it. And he says, well, you're not wanted here. The policeman did. So she went to leave, and they grabbed her and said, you know, it's not that easy. You can't leave without identifying yourself. And she said, I'm not going to do it. He said, you're under arrest. He couldn't arrest her for refusing to identify herself.
Because that's not illegal.
It's not a crime. So they charged her with interfering with an officer. They took her down to the police station and locked her up. She refused to be fingerprinted, so they charged her with refusing to be fingerprinted. And that began, you know, an 8-month ordeal where she was judged to be incompetent, and she was sent to the state's maximum security forensic mental institution to restore her competency. She was sent to probate court. She was officially committed. And this procedure repeated itself 3 or 4 times up until June, when she finally got a new lawyer who challenged the competency and produced a private psychiatric evaluation which showed that she was competent.
Jesus Christ, I had my mic muted. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry. So basically, this woman was declared incompetent when she wouldn't comply with the pigs. She wouldn't give her ID. He goes into some other things that happen later on. So they put her in this institute for the criminally insane after they run her through through probate court. And probate court is just it's an actual criminal court. Okay, the people that run it are criminals, and what they do is they award executorship or guardianship from people that they have deemed incompetent to their friends, to clerks. They're acting as executors for the court. Okay, they're not working in our best interests. And what happens is, when you're deemed incompetent, right, you don't have to agree to any of this. The court just takes everything away from you. And they sign over your power, your executorship, the control of your life, your property, your effects, to an appointed representative of the probate court. They call them guardians. I don't know what they're guardians of the socialist system. Anyway, let's go on. Let's go on with this. This is some of the most egregious shit that doesn't involve violence that I've heard about recently.
Coincidentally, the state at that point agreed that she was competent, and within a period of weeks, the prosecution had dropped the charges. The defense and certain other people involved in this case say the implication is they realized the mistake they had made by putting this woman through the ordeal, and that's why they dropped it, to try and get out from under it. But they say it was just a coincidence. In any event, she filed an appeal in June, and a public interest appeal, which is not the normal kind of appeal. It's the court decided it was a matter of pressing concern, and they agreed to take it. And what they did was they got a lot of publicity about it to try, I think, to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Well, and the justices, for sure, now we should say, since Ed's article, the justices have dismissed the appeal,
Right.
basically saying her charges were dropped, she's no longer in custody, so it's moot, we don't have to decide on it.
Right.
But in the meantime, they certainly gave the state a handful, an earful about.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. The prosecutor, who was in collusion with this probate judge, I can guarantee you that was the case, decided that they were going to drop the charges as soon as they brought this thing to appeal to the state Supreme Court. They dropped it instantly. Coincidence? It's a coincidence like, the cops hurting us is isolated. It's as much of a coincidence as, these violent maniac, fucking violent wild apes that carry badges and guns harming the citizenship. I know you're with me. We're all on the same page. These probate guardians, when you're in the hospital or in the rehabilitation facility or a nursing home, or in this woman's case, in this Institute for the Criminally Insane. Okay, understand, this is a prison for people that are insane. They're too insane to be put in with the wild apes in prison. Okay, think about that. They put this woman in a prison for the criminally insane, and they drugged her multiple times for months. Yeah, right, exactly. An earful, so what? You guys are going to love what's coming next. So these people, these people have created a system where they can just label anybody as insane. Obviously, they did it in Connecticut. The probate court did it in Connecticut. And I have a friend, and she's going through the same sort of thing with the probate court, but this guardian who has executorship over the part of her life that I'm not going to discuss because it's not my business to discuss it. Well, this woman that has the guardianship was playing around with Social Security money, okay? And the money has to be accounted for in detail when you have a guardianship that deals with Social Security or disability or trust fund or anything like that. All of that money, down to the fucking penny, has got to be accounted for in the ledger, in the account books, and there has to be receipts. There has to be proof. There has to be visual proof, and there has to be receipts that the guardian is using those resources to benefit the person that they have the executorship over. And this woman has been doing this for years and years, stealing money. Now understand that when you steal Social Security money from somebody else, those are federal funds, and that makes it, like a big deal crime. Okay? But what these people did is also a bunch of federal crimes because they they violated her rights constantly. They drugged her multiple. Well, let me just play this.
About their conduct. I mean, this lady, you mentioned probate court. She was conserved and forcibly medicated to restore her competency, all because she refused to give her ID. She was in court. She continued to say this was a false arrest. She had defense counsel who said, I've tried to explain to her that she was arrested, and she's saying it's a false arrest. She, I think, accurately fought for her rights, and because of that, ended up being forcibly medicated.
Yeah, forcibly medicated because she stood on her rights. I'm not really. I think that this reporter on the left, the dude in the blue suit, is lukewarm, and I would spit him out into the fucking grass because he's lukewarm. He's almost there, but he's hedging a little bit in some respects. But anyway, fuck him. The other guy is the guy that we should be listening to. This older fella here.
I think so. Yes, I mean she was forcibly injected against her will with powerful mind-altering drugs. And, I don't, there's plenty of indication that she understood what was going on. Her argument was, if you ever get me in court, I'll prove that I was wrongly arrested, and there won't be any need to detain me any longer. Somehow out of that, the evaluators at the mental institution decided that she didn't understand how the legal process worked.
Well, you have a page here.
You got that? The lunatics who are running the asylum thought that she doesn't understand how the legal system works. The legal system works in just one way, properly and correctly and legally, and that's based on the Bill of Rights. And they violated her. Not only did they violate her Fourth Amendment rights multiple times, they violated the Eighth Amendment because slapping her into a mental institution for the criminally insane is cruel and unusual punishment. And they also violated the 14th Amendment because they denied her unequivocal right to due process, equal protection under the law. And they violated her Fifth Amendment right because they wanted her to produce her ID. What else did they violate? Who was the injured party here? There is no injured party. So they violate the Sixth Amendment, the right to face her accuser. Excuse me. They violate her First Amendment, and then they commit over and over again these crimes of cruel and unusual punishment under the color of law. What's the matter with you? There are a whole fucking grocery list of constitutional violations here that are on the police, the judge and the prosecutor who conspired with the probate court to put this woman in a criminally insane institution, a criminally insane detention, and then they drugged her over and over again. Not only did they wrongfully arrest her and kidnap her, which is a federal crime, they tortured her by giving her these mind-altering chemicals against her will. And I know for sure, I can say with 100% certainty that this woman never gave permission for these motherfuckers to do any of this to her. Not one bit of it. I'm so fucking angry. I'm shaking right now. So let's listen to just a little bit more of this horrendous deal here.
You gave me from the defense brief to the Supreme Court. She was medicated at least 5 times in 2024, talking about, presumably other dates. And I just thought it was interesting here. And I took this is a quote right from your article. This is Justice Stephen Ecker. He says this during what you covered. Her thinking is tangential because she keeps returning to the point that she's innocent, and this is false arrest. That's clearly a sign of schizophrenia because it's tangential thinking. That seems absurd. The idea that she's paranoid is because she's been involuntarily hospitalized by the state.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. The decision and the opinion given by this Supreme Court, state Supreme Court judge, it restores some of my faith in the judicial process, because he makes this salient point like a sane person. He's not nuts. He's good. He makes this right decision in this case. And he says that what he should go on to further say is that everybody involved in the process needs to be prosecuted. But he can't do that. That's not his job. That's the job of this woman. She has to become the complainant. She has to, man, dude, if I could have this woman's ear for just 10 minutes with Kennedy over my shoulder, this woman would have all kinds of charges to lay against the state, the city, the county, the judge, the prosecutor, everybody in that state hospital administration, everyone. The person that took the conservancy for conservancy is, well, I mean, I just can't even. The verbiage they use, like, justifies what they're doing as something good, and it's not. But let's go on with this.
He's basically saying, of course she's paranoid. You all have her locked up and you're forcibly medicating her for not showing her ID.
Yeah. What's interesting in this thing is, if you're a court watcher, the justices who were once prosecutors were very, very silent during this whole argument, which went on about 45 minutes. The justices who never were prosecutors were the ones that had all the questions. The other thing I think you might want to be aware of is that the legislature became aware of this problem over the last year.
Yeah, and listen real close to what the legislatures have to say, and this law that they enacted. It's just they need to be mentally triaged. They need to be mentally evaluated because they're also insane.
And they enacted a law which took effect October 1st, just a couple of days ago. And it addresses the problem, but it doesn't really clearly direct us to any solution. It basically says that when this situation arises in the future, the people involved, the prosecutors and the court, should be aware that the goal is to find the least restrictive place to house somebody when.
Okay, the least restrictive. See how the legislature completely fucking missed it? Because they don't know what the law of the land really is. They don't understand the multiple times that the system violated this woman's rights. Everybody violated this woman's rights, and they were all in official government capacities. The people that run that institution are government employees. I guarantee it. It's an institute for the criminally insane. So it's a prison for lunatics. It's a prison for lunatics. They're so far gone they can't even be put in a regular prison. Okay, so they're also part of the government. Everybody in this chain of custody for this woman that made any decisions or signed any papers is guilty of violating this woman's rights, and they're all involved in this huge conspiracy, and every single one of them should face charges of treason. Treason and crimes against the people. Crimes against we the people, because it's not just her. Injustice to one is injustice to all. When they visit this kind of shit on this woman in Connecticut because she's having a bad day and she says, no, I'm not giving you my ID, and they throw her in a loony bin and they dope her up with these, extremely powerful antipsychotic drugs that turn you into a zombie, that's cruel and unusual punishment. It's torture. We got false arrest, we got false imprisonment, we got torture, and then we got all these deprivation of rights. 4 really serious crimes before we even start talking about the constitutional violations that are going on here, which are legion. Okay? Legion. So let's hear what this, veteran reporter has to keep on saying.
They're going through this so-called return to competency.
Oh, and they send her to Whiting, which is the same place they send murderers.
Well, I mean, there isn't any
felons.
place many more restrictive than Whiting.
We're all out of time. But I appreciate you being here. And I think another interesting thing is, this all started because she couldn't post a $500 bond. That might have
right.
changed the whole point of this. And that's been a big topic in the legislature as well, that issue.
See how they give this story like 6.5 minutes. Man, I don't know anything about the format of this show, but it's obviously it's a news station in Connecticut there. And, I got to give them a little bit of credit for running the story at all, because this case right here is an even more egregious violation of a citizen than what happened to Tyrone, the deaf black dude that the police beat the shit out of, because the loony white guy pointed at him and said, that's the guy, he tried to beat me up or whatever. It's even more egregious than that, because they threw this woman in prison. They took a conservancy over her and declared her incompetent with what I'm going to guarantee is minimal oversight, minimal investigation, minimal research, minimal thought. They just went ahead and did it. They didn't think about it. This is way worse than what happened to Tyrone. I'm sorry, or Tyron. It's way worse. This is way more egregious. Not that what happened to Tyron isn't egregious. It's egregious as fuck. But this is even worse, because the end result of this now is this legislature making this law that says you need to find a softer way to throw people in a cell because they stand on their rights. That's basically what they're saying. Yeah, Jeff, you got it right, man. That's the answer. More stupid laws. Stupid laws is right. Stupid legislatures make stupid laws. Stupid judges make stupid rulings. Stupid cops make stupid arrests and do stupid things to harm innocent, we the people, citizens. This infuriates me, man, like nothing else has, except for, I'm infuriated by what happened to Tyron, and I'm infuriated with what happened to that old lady that had dementia. Why are you hurting me? That woman. I was so upset about that. This is even worse. All those things are terrible. They should never have fucking happened, and they only happen because we got socialists in charge who are, in fact, themselves criminally insane. And out in front of them, we have these serial killers' lights. Yeah, Karen Garner, that's right. I'm sorry. I see so much of this that I forget these people's names, and I feel bad about it, because they're all victims, and they all deserve their day in court. They all deserve some justice. God damn it, man. This has got to fucking stop. This has got to stop, and these people have got to be brought to heel. They got to be put on a leash, and they got to be fucking beaten until they do what they're supposed to do. That shit right there, I'm sure it happens a lot more than we hear about. But most of these people, they just go away. How much you want to bet that more people die in these mental institutes than we're ever gonna know? Ever gonna know, because the people that do it The people that do it understand that what they've done is fucked up and that there are going to be serious ramifications, so they turn the temperature down in their cells, or they fail to feed them, or they fail to give them their medication, and then they fucking die in there. How do we know that's not going on? They're never going to tell us the truth. All they do is lie. They lie, and we're grateful that they're there to protect us, aren't we? We're grateful. Because what we don't see doesn't happen. What do we know from listening to Chili? If there's no video, it never happened. Right? If there's no witness who's willing to put their ass on the line, it didn't happen. If there's no video, there better be a witness. And that witness better be protected by Navy SEALs, in a concrete bunker until the proceedings are over, because we understand that the pigs will come and kill you, or make sure that you end up in jail where they can do away with you quietly, where nobody can see it, where nobody can witness it, where nobody cares if you go in and disappear. There's a line from Henry V, and it says, these royal monsters whose deeds chewed, swallowed, and digested do appear before us as a fact. Man, that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about these monsters chewing us up and eating us. And at the end, all that's left is this disgusting thing that they've done. A piece of shit laying on the floor because of what they've done. Who cleans it up? We have to clean it up. We have to clean it up because we're the taxpayers. Who pays the bills? We pay the bills. Why do we pay the bills? We pay the bills because if we don't pay the bills, they're going to send men with guns to come hurt us and take us away and do the same shit to us. Okay, so the whole point of me making this video is, it's the egregiousness of what happens to this woman, obviously, but I'm watching scanners on my media player. It's not Windows Media Player. I use VLC, and it doesn't tell the internet anything in theory. So I pause the video and I bring up YouTube, and this is in the front of my list. This video here about this woman who gets put in an insane asylum because she stands up for her rights. I just found that, really strange. And it proves to me that my computer with the internet is watching every little fucking thing that I do. Every single little fucking thing, man. Every single little thing. It's nuts, right? And a couple weeks ago, I had a conversation on the phone with my dad and a business where we were purchasing services from this business together. I was sort of an ad hoc witness to the deal. And then a couple hours later in my email, I get all these notifications of similar businesses to the one that I was having, that me and my dad were having this conversation with on the phone. Do you want to buy this from us? We'll give you a better deal on it here. We see that you're interested in blah, blah, blah. I sent no text messages. I didn't input anything into the computer. And my email is full of all this spam from a related business to these people that me and my dad were talking to that provide this service as a business. So they're listening and they're watching every single fucking thing we do. This business that we were talking wasn't anything, nefarious or even remotely criminal. None of it. All right, Jeff, you have a good day, bro. Thanks for showing up. The computer is listening to me constantly. Or it's key login, and man, look, you see, it's this surveillance state that we live in that's now been commercialized. It's been monetized. They're selling the information that they're scraping off of our telephone calls, our cell phone calls, our text messages, what we watch on our computers. Okay, scanners is a file on my computer that I was watching with a program that isn't monitored by anything except Windows. Now, in this case, it's beneficial because I never would have found out about this. But it's still really creepy that, that this kind of shit is floating to the surface. And it makes me want to disconnect myself from all of this electronics entirely. Like I'm thinking about putting a master switch. I'm thinking about putting all of my electronic devices on one switch and then another switch behind that. So there's not going to be any stealth electricity getting into it. No, that's okay. It's all right. What's the matter with you? It's all good, dude. We need to have a private conversation when you got some time. I don't want to talk about your comment on my video because when you talk about your plans in front of the wrong people, they're going to do what they can to fuck you up. And I have got there's no doubt in my mind that the wrong people are watching my channel. Some of them. This is this falls under the auspice of watch who you let in your house. And when I say let in your house, I mean into your business. Right? Like the people at work that we get chummy with. They're not your friends. They don't care about you. Most people will be happy to fuck up any plans you have at all, just because they can. This is not just an American problem. This is everywhere. This is a human being problem. We can't stand to see other monkeys be happy, so we're going to get to those bananas first. Right? We're going to get to those bananas first. We're going to drag that infant monkey that they have off into the bush and kill it and make it disappear because it gives them too much joy. That's it's wild ape behavior. It's wild ape behavior. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. What's the matter, you? You let me know when is going to be a good time, and we'll have a private conversation on StreamYard. No, there is no plan, but we just need to have a private conversation. So you just let me know in an email, like I did get your email, but it was real early in the morning when I got it, and I woke up because I was cold and shivering, and my fucking fingers were going numb and shit. I had to get another blanket and throw it on me, and I saw that I had a notification, so I went ahead and sent you a little bit of an email. But let me know what time is good for you, and give me some time. Send me an email, but give me several hours after that time. All right. All right, you guys. That's it. I just wanted to bring this bit of weirdness and yet more horrendous crimes committed against we the people in the form of probate and illegal arrest, kidnapping, torture, false imprisonment, and a multitude of constitutional violations committed against this woman. And I hope to God that the right kind of lawyer gets to her and says, listen, we're going to pay for the whole rest of your life, and we're going to throw some people in prison that deserve it richly. All right, thanks for showing up, guys. I'll talk at you later.